This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
What is up, guys? My name is Ark, and today is not a beautiful day to Brawl. At the time of recording this, the European Parliament have passed Article 13, which is very bad, and I'm going to go into some of the reasons why it's very bad and why it affects all of you guys watching this video and any content creator around the world. And just to say that I don't normally record these types of video, I tend to steer clear from anything political, but this is going to directly impact me, and therefore it's going to directly impact you, and you should absolutely know about it. So I was going to upload this yesterday. Unfortunately, I was just too angry and upset about the whole thing. So I asked you guys on Twitter, do you know what Article 13 even is, what it means for you? And many of you did not know and wanted to know more, so here we go. What is Article 13? Well, basically, at the moment, as a content creator, I am responsible, I am liable for the content that I upload. So if one day I uploaded a music video by Ariana Grande, or a Michael Jackson video, or whatever that was owned by a major record label in terms of copyrights, then YouTube would flag it and say, you can't do that, buddy. That ain't yours to upload. That is owned by someone else. And they reach out to the copyright holder and they ask them, do you want to take down the channel? Do you want to give them a strike, a copyright strike? Or do you want to basically allow that video to be still public, but retain all the revenue? Basically, redirect the monetization towards yourselves. Now, for the most part, the current filtering system on YouTube works okay. It's far from perfect, don't get me wrong, but it can spot a song or a video after a certain length of time. No big deal, right? The big corporations and companies can effectively have double the money. If it's uploaded by someone with like a load of subscribers, they're going to make a ton more money by having that video in 2 different places anyway. What's the big deal? But apparently that isn't good enough for the EU, and what Article 13 is going to do, and by the way, this has been passed. They voted. It's going to happen. There is no turning back. What the Article 13 will do is make YouTube the ones responsible for what I upload. They will be the ones that are liable and punishable by law if anything that I upload to YouTube, whether it's for a second, is owned by someone else, like a video game, for example, or like a meme. If I were to show a meme for a couple of seconds that is showing an image from a film or a TV show or anything that is someone else's originally, whether I've changed it or not is not the point. We are no longer in the realms of fair use, guys. You can't artistically change something, put your own twist on it. It doesn't matter anymore. What this is going to do is absolutely cripple social media, because this is not just YouTube. It's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, literally any of those platforms and more. They're just the majors. If they are to show anything at all that is copyrighted and owned by someone else, that's it. Done. It doesn't matter how little of that original content you take, how much you distort it, how much you add your own artistic ideas on top of it. If it gets back to the copyright holder, that is on social media, that company that holds the copyright can take YouTube or anyone else, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, to court. Who doesn't want to sue Google, Facebook? They are some of the biggest companies in the world with billions and billions, guys. Like, who wants to sue the little guy when you can take the big guys to court? Say goodbye to reaction videos. Say goodbye to covering your favorite song on YouTube, playing the guitar. Say goodbye to playing your favorite game. You can't even upload an image under this new article that is owned by someone else, even if you're trying to promote it in a positive light. It is literally restriction, censorship, and freedom of speech gone on the internet as we know it. Now, you might think I'm overreacting. You might think, how could they possibly pass something so ridiculous? You might think, well, I don't live in the EU. Why should I be bothered about this? Well, sorry to say it, guys, but it's going to affect everyone, because the EU is massive. It's a huge, huge market full of potential subscribers, full of potential views that will be just gone, because you will not have the same access to the EU anymore. It will be restricted. It will be filtered. It is literally ridiculous, and you should be worried about this. So how are social media supposed to detect all this copyrighted material prior to it being made public? Well, they already have a system. They've invested millions and millions in systems that are filtering systems based on algorithms that are designed to detect this stuff. But it already doesn't work. The technology is just not there yet. An algorithm cannot detect the context. This is the problem. So there are laws that state that you can use copyrighted material for fair use, for parodies, for educational purposes. It cannot tell the difference. It just doesn't work. And what I just find so unbelievable about this whole thing is that the EU have set aside absolutely no funding towards this, by the way. It's all coming out the pockets of other people. No direction as to how they're supposed to achieve it. It's just literally, this is now your problem. Deal with it. Prior to this article being passed, there was a petition. I personally signed it. It reached 5 million signatures. And it was basically ignored. I mean, they did revise some things, but YouTube have already been very public about the fact that these revisions are still going to harm content creators. Check out this video. This is an official statement from YouTube.
Is the final version of Article 13 good for creators? We've had several lawyers and policy experts examine the text. The good news is that the latest text has improved over the version written by the European Parliament last September. This is also thanks to all of you who spoke up and made a big difference in having the creator point of view heard. At the same time, while there have been improvements, we believe the final Article 13 will still hurt, not help European creators.
Still hurt, not help.
So, what's the issue? The final text leaves a lot of ambiguity on what happens to content before YouTube receives notice from rights holders. This will result in online platforms like YouTube blocking content because they need to remain on the side of caution and reduce their legal risks. Specifically, the text is unclear on 3 things. First, the role of rights holders in providing the necessary level of detail to identify their content. Second, it's unclear what kind of content platforms like YouTube need to have licenses for. Images, paintings, photos, what else? Given that is unclear, there's no way of being 100% sure of whether all the rights are covered at the moment of upload. And lastly, it's unclear if there are any new legal responsibilities for creators.
Hurt, not help, content creators in the EU. That is from YouTube themselves. And they are worried and they are going to protect themselves. Of course they are. They are now responsible for us. And that's like being in charge of a bunch of children that could potentially be causing havoc, trolling, all that kind of stuff. They're going to have to implement stuff to protect themselves from being sued. And just to add to that, I don't know whether you guys have noticed this. I know that I certainly have. But YouTube is now placing double ads at the beginning of videos. I'm noticing there are 2 advertisements before my videos start. And that is so incredibly sus. That's like saying, the ship's sinking, guys, quick, cash in while you still can. Perhaps what I find so disgusting about this whole thing is that it was voted for in a room full of predominantly older people. Where was the voice of the millennials? Where was the voice of the younger people who they know can't vote? They can't have any kind of political discussion about, but who use the internet more than any other age group. It is so frustrating to me that you guys didn't even know this was happening. No one informed you guys, and why would they? They don't want you to have a voice. They don't want your opinions to be made known because it prevents them just doing whatever the hell they want. It's so messed up. But perhaps the most ridiculous thing of all is that the MPs couldn't even vote correctly. 10 MPs, and I'll put them on the screen right now, didn't press the right voting button. They said yes, do Article 13 instead of no. What the hell? It's all public knowledge, guys. You can check this stuff out for yourselves. They went on record and said, we didn't mean to vote the way we wanted to, and we wanted to retract it, but the EU said no. It's so dumb, and this to me sums up my opinion on politics and how the older generation are just basically trampling on the younger generation and all the things that they hold dear to themselves, like the internet. The internet is our territory. We understand it. We use it. I guarantee that none of the people that voted for this article have ever even made a meme. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And this, by the way, is actual footage of how the vote happens. It's literally over in 15 seconds. Check it out.
A roll call vote The vote is now open.
Avete votato tutti?
Have you all voted? The vote is now closed. This text has been approved.
And that's it. Like, the future of the internet as we know it is decided in 15 seconds and it's all changed forever. Like, I don't know what to say about this. Like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And there were many people that were very happy about this article being passed. Mainly musicians and the record labels who I've worked for prior to YouTube. I know how they think. Paul McCartney, David Guetta, Lady Gaga, all of them saying this is a great thing for the internet. And the reason behind that is because the record labels were never able to keep up with technology changing and evolving. Ever since records were physical and in your hand, going towards a digital era where it is MP3s and downloadable on the internet, they were never able to keep up with their piracy and find new and alternative methods of making money. And yet, the irony of this is that the music business is going to lose massively because of this article. Because when a big YouTuber with a ton of subscribers makes a reaction video to a music video, it draws attention to it. It draws in views towards the original. It promotes it. It markets it. It draws in sales. How do they not see this? So now there is a ton of uncertainty around what is going to happen next. The article has only just passed. It won't become law for another 2 years. So I guess I've got like another 2 years to build up my channel enough to move countries, right? One thing's for sure, live streams are going to stop. Like, I just don't see how YouTube can possibly protect themselves in that scenario. It's a real-time thing. At any moment, I could show copyrighted material, which is then already online. Without some kind of time delay, like a significant one at that, I just don't see how that's going to work. And that defeats the whole purpose of a real-time interaction with your viewers. I don't see it. And yes, the UK is currently going through Brexit. This may not actually affect me, but at the moment, Brexit is a massively uncertain thing. We've all seen how well that's doing, right? I mean, really, really great job on that. And the EU doing whatever it is that they're doing over here and just like, yeah. But again, this is not about me. It's about everyone. It's about the entire EU. If I'm like exempt, that's one thing, but I'm still going to be in the same position as everyone else in the rest of the world who's outside of the EU, losing that massive, massive market, losing subscribers, losing views. It makes no difference. We are all affected. There are literally no winners here. But of course, the EU is saying, you know, don't worry, guys, you know, you're massively overreacting. This is going to make the internet a much fairer place for everyone, and you know, don't worry, we've got the control over the whole thing, and it's all going to be fine. I mean, when has a ton of control been given to a group of people and not led to corruption or a dictatorship? I mean, that's never happened in the history of ever, right? So what happens next is probably going to be one of two things. I mean, YouTube could potentially turn off the entire upload system to the EU. I mean, it's viable. It's definitely an option. I mean, how can you possibly monitor and filter through potentially infinite amounts of data with 100% degree of accuracy? I mean, it to me just seems impossible. It's not working now. What's to say it's going to work any better in 2 years' time? It could be the one saving grace here that is actually flawed from the get-go and is not going to be possible for any of the social medias to do this. Let's hope that that is the case. The second option, which is by no means any better, is that YouTube continues to function, but it just doesn't allow the smaller content creators to upload effectively anything. It will be like the big multinational companies, it will be like the big record labels, the big news agencies, effectively ruling out any freedom of speech. Anyone who's not established as a massive, massive company with huge influence will just be absolutely discredited because YouTube can't take the risk. You know, maybe, just maybe, YouTube will allow Supercell to have a list of content creators which it approves. But what position does that put someone who's not yet a content creator in? Like, there will be no new content creators on YouTube, and that is just a really, really sad reality. I don't see how it's going to go any other way. But that is going to wrap up today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, head on down to the like button, grab it, smash it, and while you're at it, subscribe for more future content. Maybe, possibly, who knows? Until next time, keep calm, brawl on.